Welcome to this kind of video where I'm gonna explain you all the buttons and their functions in the AH-94 helicopter. So this one is a bit more complicated than the other vehicles because these controls have sometimes double controls. For example, I turned it off, but you can turn it on with control hint. So you see it has like SOI control, SOI toggle, and a mod function. If I press the mod function, I now have the fire button, the countermeasure button, the pilot tilt, and no longer SOI control. This is a mod button. Here is a wheel brake, and on the gunner seat, we have the same on the left side. This is just fire. We have a mod to change between the SOI control and countermeasures. We will come to that later. So, yeah, let's start with this is pretty much the same on every aircraft, these two. The main battery to get power for your screens and shit. And the APU. The APU is just generating power. Once your engines are running, make sure to turn the APU off because it's consuming fuel, as you can see. 2.4 liters. So, to close the windows, there's a grip here, just pull it towards you. It will automatically lock. This one. If it's not locking, you have to hold this handle, pull it in, and then close it. To open it, hold this grip, turn it up, and open the door. You see, now it didn't close. Pull and lock. So, that's it for the auto control. Then we have lights. Lights interior is just a red light there. And instruments, same for night missions. You have the green light. Also nav strobe and landing. Landing is only working if your landing gear is out, as far as I know. Yeah. So let's start from the left to right, then switch to the gunner and do the same again. So on the left side we have the Mp3 control buttons, like on every helicopter. The jettison system is a bit different than on normal aircraft. I can't jettison them here. Yeah? Oh, I can, okay. Never mind. But yeah, you can also basically look out and select the weapon you don't want. The tip is always gonna be the anti-air missiles, so you can drop them by selecting left or right tip. And then by pressing this large button in the middle, you will drop them. Like that. Okay. So, if you're new to the game, you may wonder, why would I drop my weapons? The heavier you are, obviously the heavier, the more of a struggle it is to gain height. So if you're too heavy, if you can't take off because your wings are damaged or your engine is fading, whatever, drop some weapons, drop all the weapons you have, and try to fly back to base and repair yourself. Okay, so that's for the jettison system. Now this is for the helicopter only. This part of control. First we have the idle mode, which is just for starting up. We're gonna do that real quick. Make sure the APU is running, and then activate one engine start. Now we have it on idle. If I turn it to off, nothing is gonna happen. The rotor won't gain speed, so we have to set it on idle. And then deactivate the rotor brake for the engine spinning up and the rotor gaining some RPM. And once the blades are properly running, we can give the engines full power to take off. So just turn to idle, wait till the blades are spinning in the red area, and then give the engine the full power. Now this light is off, and we can start a second engine. Once this one is off, it's about when like this far, it should go off, right in front of the last letter and off, yeah. So now we're in idle mode, right? Now we can increase the power to flight, and now the engines gain more power. We are now ready to take off. Yeah, well, we're gonna stay here. Don't forget to turn off the APU to conserve fuel. So now we have the CMS countermeasure. This one, on this vehicle, you can deactivate them by pressing this. On the other vehicles, you have these switches. Then normal parking brake for the wheels, so you know we are rolling. Parking brake on, no more roll. Landing gear, I'll turn it off because I'm underground. And we have rotor fold and rotor brake. So you may wonder if you're refueling right now. You say to the comms you want to rearm, turn off your engines. Okay, but you're like, how do I turn them off, right? You can't. These are just starters, not turning off. Turn your engines off. You have to put the power to off. Now you're losing like, really slowly the rotor speed. To accelerate this, you can turn on the brake and even pull some collective, because then the angel is gonna stop and the torque on the blades is getting higher, so they will even stop faster. So pull it on, pull it to max, just wait till the blades are stopped, like that. Now you could rearm. We won't do that now. So get to the next point, the rotor fold. So if you start on an aircraft carrier, the wings will be folded. This. So just make sure to unfold them, because else you can't start. Okay. Really quick note, what the collective is actually doing. So if you pull the collective, you see I'm not increasing the RPM. I'm just changing the tilt of the blade. Like this, the air is going around the blades. If I pull the collective, the angel increases and the air is pushing against the blades, so to create uplift. So yeah, that's the physics behind it. We turn off the rotor brake and start again. Okay, so let's do the SAS. The SAS is like the flight assist on the jets. So if you turn it off, it's terrible to control. You probably will crash. So if you're a new pilot, set this one to full. The more experience you get, you can lower it. I'm flying on half, because this allows me to do more direct inputs and sharper turns and shit. On the top left, we have the RWR, and on the middle, we have the, I don't know what's it called, where your nose is pointing and shit. So this is a rotor indicator, whilst your blade is spinning. The torque, how much torque the blade is experiencing, and the engine. The smaller one is for the left engine, the longer one is on the right. Is for the right. You can actually, if you want to fly really hardcore, turn off the HMD power, so fly without this one, and only use these instruments to fly. It's a bit harder, new experience. Also works for jet, as these have also so yeah, that's about this part. Clear waypoints should be pretty clear if you have any waypoint. For example, yes, we have a waypoint over there. If you're annoyed by these triangles guiding you towards the waypoint, just press the waypoint and the waypoint is gone. So, next we have swap. If you want to swap these screens, you can just do it by pressing this one. Quite useless button. Mft Brightness, if you have your night vision, you see I can't really see anything there, so turn down the brightness to the lowest. We'll probably see again. So yeah, that's the brightness. Same with HMD, you can lower the brightness or increase it. Then this screen is also unique to the helicopter. We have the power button, obviously. Then the stat button, which shows you the engine's RPM, as well as the rotor. This is the RPM, so how fast the blades are spinning. You've always been agreed, if it's here, you're stalling. The torque, like the amount of force the blades are experiencing. If I pull the collective, the force, the torque would rise, but we have to less speed. Then we have fuel, obviously, internal, external. If you have drop pods, fuel pods, it would show on as external fuel. The estimated time on your current fuel drain and the estimated distance you can reach. The estimated time is hardly changing all the time. It's basically changing all the time because you don't control the engine power. The helicopter is doing that for you. You can only change the tilt of the blades. You can't really influence the amount of time. Just, it's hard to explain. You see, for example, if I'm flying like this right now, the rotor is having a slow mount. It's not in an optimum, right? So the engines are increasing its power to gain some RPM again. And then the fuel drain is increasing. So we only have 1 hour now, but if I'm just hovering, you know, we have 2 hours again, even though the collective is on the same position. Well, not really, but it's not how hard you pull, it's more like how much the engines have to put in to keep up the rotor RPM. So it's a bit tricky. But it never happened to me that I flew like 2 hours with a helicopter, so don't worry about fuel too much. Yeah. That's about it. Fuel drain, how much fuel you're currently using per minute. Autopilot on a helicopter is quite terrible, unless it got patched. Nav will guide you to the waypoint if you have one. So we can set one over there, like we did before. This, we now press nav, it will fly to the waypoint on its own. Not? Should be flying to the waypoint. Okay, weird. Normally it should guide me now towards the waypoint. Then we have the hover mode. Hover mode is just trying to hold you on one point. But you see, I still have control over the altitude, so I can give it like no power and where it will descend, where it will all the power and will rise. To have like on the AV-42 the hover mode, you can press this button and now we can control, like now we are hovering 5 meters per second upwards, which is, I don't know, 9 foot, 15 foot per second, I'm not sure. Now we would lose 15 foot per second. And if you hold it in the middle, it will hold you steady in the air on one point. You can actually also do this by holding the flight collective and then pressing the other button, the hover autopilot. So you see, I can switch between it with one button press. So if you're playing single player, the helicopter, you can fly towards the target, and then shortly before approaching the target, you can press this button, activate the autopilot, and then switch seat to the gunner. So yeah, that's this one. You can also, only if you're traveling somewhere, towards somewhere, you can activate altitude. It's gonna hold you on your current altitude, and then press heading, and it will fly towards this direction on the same altitude till wherever, till you disable it. You can still change heading and altitude while flying. Yeah. Okay, so armament is just like the switches you have on the jets, or master arm and master arm off. Here these are buttons. If you have it, if the arm is glowing yellow instead of red, that means your gunner has the gun armed. So then you can't fire. You have to arm it yourself. Then his light is gonna turn yellow, and he won't be able to fire, but you can. So make sure if you're firing weapons and it doesn't work, make sure this one is red and not yellow. If it is yellow, just press it once again, it will turn red. So yeah. Let's go on to we had the lights, so let's go to the right side. So these are the engine starts. You can only start one engine at a time. If you activate both, you will run out of power and both will shut down. So don't do that. Then with the multiplayer update, we got team and global jet. So team will talk to you and all your teammates that are alive. And global will make your voice be hearable by everyone in the lobby, even enemies, so watch out that this is always on team. Then we have off and push to talk and hot mic. Hot mic, if I would be in an online lobby, I would constantly be talking. Everybody would be able to hear me all the time right now. So make sure this is on push to talk to not annoy people, or off if you don't want to talk at all. So this is the communication volume. If like the game announcer from ground shit is too loud for you, you can lower that here. This is intercom. Intercom, you turn on. You should turn it to on. You will constantly transmitting everything you say to your co-pilot, so you can talk to each other. What's quite important when you're flying a attack helicopter. So, and this is the volume knob for your co-pilot in that case. So this is for adjusting the position of your joystick. And then we have two, oh, this is the seat, up, down, should be clear. And we have two collectives, right? The flight collective and the combat collective. Like I said, here we have the screens of interest control. So if I'm want to control the navigation page, I have to do this with this one. Now I can control. Here I can't. So make sure to grab the combat collective. And with the upper button, you can switch between the DSI. See, pressing this button, I can switch screens. When holding the mod button, like the index finger, you can now fire the countermeasures. Like that. And you see pylon tilt, because see the hydras here, selecting the hydras right now, you can tilt them up and down while holding the mod button. So like that, then you can fire upwards or even downwards. Yeah, check the weapon tutorial for more information about that. So that's pretty much it. We have on this one obviously fire, weapon switch, and the trim. So you maybe wonder what is trim. So when we are not in autopilot, and I leave the controls right now. We're hovering right now, right? If I leave it like that, I let go. You see, we would crash now. This is because you have to constantly trim the helicopter to not crash into the ground when you release controls. So we have different, with the yaw axis, which is this one I think, the roll and the pitch. I'm not sure what axis is what, but the joystick you can trim with this, I'm not sure what's it called. It's different for every VR headset. So yeah, just make sure that you see the green circle down there. You see, it's in the top left now. So you can control the trim of that one with that side, and the arrow on top of it is for trimming that long bar through the middle. So see, when I'm turning left, I'm twisting the stick to the left, like that. Now I'm turning left, and twist it to the right. I'm turning right. So to trim this, yeah, this is your trim, I see it. Okay, to trim the left and right. So if we're hovering right now, see, we're slowly moving to the right. So you trim this one a bit to the left to counter that movement. And then you should be staying still in the air. Yeah, just train it. You may wonder how to train it. Just let the controls go and see if you're gonna crash or not. May wonder how to know in which direction you trim. I'm always looking at the input I'm giving to hold still, so I want to stay like that right now. So you see the full dot is going a bit up. So this is neutral, but to stay still I have to go up and left a bit. So that means the aircraft always needs input to up and left a bit. So I'm just gonna move the trim a bit to the top left, like that. Now I can let go and quite stable in the air. Oh, really? Okay. So let's look again. Now I need to go a bit to the right and up, like that. We are spinning to the left, like that. So that works pretty good. It's way longer than without any trim. I like that. Now you can control some screens. You have more time than without trim, because without trim you would crash. Okay, so let's switch to the gunner's seat. Here we have a third screen, so that's quite unique also. And a new type of control. Because on this one we only have one flight collective. We only have the flight collective. So this is the same functions as the lower one. For the upper one, you have to grab this one. But with this one we can't steer. So for flying you have to hold this one, and for firing countermeasures, for example, you have to hold this one. So you can imagine it's quite stressful if a rocket is coming towards you, and you have to let go of the collective to fire some countermeasures. So make sure to fly into combat zones and shit with the pilot seat, because there you have both controls. Yeah, let's activate the hover pilot. And let's take a look what's special about this seat. So you see, we're missing quite a lot of controls actually. We have the jettison system, which I explained, just like the go weapons and press jettison. But we're missing like rotor brake, rotor fold and shit. That's things only the pilot can do. So what we are doing here is check something very quick. Okay. What we are doing here is basically we only do the gunning shit. Okay, so the pilot will fly and the gunner is doing gunning. So yeah, we only have one light switch. And that should be it. The SAS is hidden below here. So same as on the pilot seat is like the flight assist. So turn that one on full if you're new. If you're more experienced, you can lower it a bit. Never plays it off. It's steerable. For more flight tips, go onto options and select the joy sense. This screen is a bit smaller. I'm gonna show it here. So like make the joy sense 0.8 or 0.6. Because the higher it is, the more sensitive your input is, obviously. So make it as low as possible. 0.6 is too slow for me, so I'm using 0.8. But this will help you to fly. There's also a flight tutorial on my channel, you can watch that if you're terrible at flying the helicopter. So yeah, you can change by the way the joystick mode also here, but I know this mode feels weird for me, but test what works best for you. So that's it. Oh yeah, the bail. So you may wonder, on all the other aircraft, right, you can eject, but here you can't because you have solid glass above you that won't fly away. So the bail one is actually you don't eject, it's just killing you straight. You may wonder why would someone implement instant kill button, but if you lose your tail, you start spinning like crazy. You start spinning like this. In the other one, faster. So start spinning like this. And if you're not experienced in VR, you can motion sick by this. So the developer added the bail option to just kill yourself, to not get motion sick, basically. So that's it, pretty much about the helicopter. Yeah, subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for more VTOL VR tutorials. And see you around. Goodbye.